Hi everyone, this is Kushbu.
And this is Prithika.
And welcome to Browned Off by Society, the podcast. And who hasn't heard our trailer, we are two opinionated brown girls who like to talk about society and the ways it has pissed us off. We did a topic on periods. We talked about our experiences and what we use and what we go through and what periods are. But after the topic, we were kind of talking about all the myths and the stupid rules we have. Yeah, and we wanted to talk more about them. So the one thing that came on my mind was recent when I got my periods. My mom is like, you can't get, so because her mom said this, we can't do it.
Like that. Okay,
yeah, and because she knows I will like reason my way out of it or something, so she's like, because her mom said it, and my mom's mom is dead now. So, like, it's pretty much like, we need to follow it. She's dead. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
And the rule was, because I'm on my period, I can't have rice and yogurt.
Ah, okay.
And because of something. I don't know the whole thing, but it's just that. And I was like, that's so bizarre. But it's for 2-3 days. So, to keep them happy, I'll do it. That's pretty much it.
To keep your mom and your grandma's soul happy, let's just do it.
With all the other shit I've done, I don't think my grandma would be happy up there. But sure, let's just make her happy here.
Wait, is this like a recently shared one, or did this also happen like before?
So when I was younger, I didn't notice like all these subtle like, don't eat this. I'm like, okay, fine, give me whatever you have made. My mom didn't make rice that day. She just had something roti or paratha. So I never even questioned why are we not eating rice.
Oh my god, your mom's so clever.
It's not like every day we were eating rice. We were not eating rice. But our diet changed recently. Now we have like a little bit rice, roti, dal, and like sabji, like a full-on meal.
Yeah.
So that's when she had to like tell me like we can't have yogurt and like rice and stuff. I'm like, cool, good to know. She's like, and she went on saying, because I wasn't living in India, so I was living in Australia. She's like, there you ate whatever you wanted, but here you have to not eat.
Like follow the rules.
I'm like, Mom, I understand. I know I'm living here. I know your rules. I'm not new to these rules. It's okay. I can survive without yogurt and rice for 2 days.
By the way, I've never heard about this yogurt and rice rule.
Yeah. What rules have you heard? Like all myths or all rules? Or...
Based on food, like things you can eat. Yeah. Let me think about it. Hold on. I think you can eat everything while you're on your periods in Nepal.
Okay. Wow.
Or maybe like, of course, like in my family, like in terms of me. My mom hasn't said anything about like, don't eat this while you're on your periods. Of course, there has been like other like stuff. I think the most vast like majority of the households is like denied entry to the temples, where like you can't go into temple.
Yeah, I think temple is the most common one in like Hindu families, especially. Like it's like everyone has faced that, like that same rule. Like you can't participate or be in a temple or be anywhere around holy stuff.
Yeah.
Because periods are considered something that is dirty.
Yeah.
Like
unholy.
And unholy, yes. So I think old or rules were like, don't touch food for other people. Like girls were kept like in a confined room. So they're still being kept. Yeah. So if someone is listening to this, there are girls in rural places who are kept in a separate room, and during those days they don't have access to sanitary pads. They use a rug, and they're given food like they're a prisoner.
Or like I even heard like they were using grass and even mud or something, like anything that would be a little absorbent.
See, that's the most insane part, like in today's time.
And based on this, like there is also like a system in a chowpadi system, it's called, where girls cannot.
What party?
Chowpadi.
Yes. Oh my god.
Sorry for my accent.
What is it called in Nepali? What is your Nepali accent? Where is your Nepali accent? This is my Indian accent.
I don't know, like when I speak English, I just like pronounce it I don't know, I just read it like this. So yeah.
Because we have been living for like forever in a different country. Like right now I'm speaking like this. No, like, but I feel like I've changed with the person I'm speaking to.
Like I didn't know how to read.
Let's move on.
How to read in Nepal, like how to read Nepali, like English written Nepali words. I was like, what the fuck does this mean? But then after moving here, I like slowly started like reading it. So anyways, so this chapari system where like women can't sleep inside their own homes and they have to go sleep outside where like, and that's like in rural areas, of course that would mean they don't have a big house, so of course that would mean like sleep in cow sheds and or like with horses or with sheeps. And there like so many girls have died because of smoke inhalation during winters or getting snake bites and stuff like that. So
it is insane. Like so in India it's not like I don't know how they are kept though, like, you know, how, as you said, like cows or stuff, but what I know is they are kept in a separate room. And
but inside like the same house,
you know, or how in COVID we were living in a quarantine situation. They're kept like that, and they have like an attached bathroom and everything. They wash their clothes there, but they are treated like an untouchable person and left food outside. And it's very degrading.
Relating to this, like food left outside, just to clarify, like other days, like girls are the ones who make food, who are in the kitchen.
Yes.
But during these days, like they're not allowed in the kitchen.
We have a whole god dedicated to food. Like what I mean to say, like, there's a whole god dedicated to like Annapurna, like a female goddess for food.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I think there is a story from like Shiva's wife, and like Shiva is like not valuing her, so she's like, fuck, I'm not going to like do all this work, and she left, and then everyone was hungry, there was no food and blah blah blah.
Oh no.
So everyone had to like pray for her to come back, and then
okay,
like
I didn't know this at all.
Yeah, so it's like we have a goddess for food, and she's a female, and you are treating her like that during that time. So
what question I wanted to ask is like, of course you wouldn't know a definitive answer, but if someone out there knows the answer, like what if there is a family who has like, I don't know, like father-in-law and the mother-in-law has passed away, and there is your husband and you and kids, all right? And if you get your periods, who's gonna cook? Because of course I don't think like your husband would know how to cook.
I know majority what happens in that situation, due to convenience, the woman does not get treated that way.
I see the way this is going.
But otherwise, like they have like joint family, like villages have joint family, so they go to a neighbor's house to eat or something. I don't know how it works in villages, but I know like if it's a joint family, they're like two brothers, then there are two sister-in-laws. If one is getting a period, the other one can cook. But if it's a nuclear family, just like the mom and dad and like the kids, I think due to convenience, they will like just let it be. I think she won't tell her husband, and he won't know, and he won't ask.
I was like, in my head, I was thinking, like, have you heard about like period syncing and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Like, what if like these two sister-in-laws, they have like period syncing? Like, we don't know if it happens or not, but like if it happens and then they both get their periods at the same time, that would be very funny.
That would be hilarious.
And it would be taken down to the convenience thing.
That would be
like
hilarious.
You can just do it.
Yeah.
Like, just make something. Yeah. Anything else that you've experienced?
Me, I think mine was like just temple and some food. Yeah. But there was, I think when I started at the age of 12, 13, then my mom was more like conservative that way, because she came from like, she didn't have anyone. She came from, like, she's like 1955 born. So she's pretty like a different generation altogether. But she changed her perspective over time. And it's just like some foods and mostly not touching temple stuff. So that's pretty much where the line is. Otherwise, I'm fine.
Yeah, for my place, I think it's the same.
Yeah. But you know how we were talking about like girls being sent to live in this isolated situation for those 2-3 days? Like my mom pointed out, like in her time, it was the first 2 days where the women were not allowed to do anything, and the third day you wash your hair and then you can do everything. You can do the whole household things. Yeah. And it's like, my mom is like, how does that work? You still have your period for the remaining 3 or 2 days, whatever you have. Like, why only the first 2 days are like...
Actually, this reminds me, there's another restriction in my house. Where, what? Like, on the 4th day, like, you take a shower. And I think, like, after that, you can... Go and do whatever you want.
With that, I was talking to my mom, like, but so maybe it's because they didn't have pads, like they didn't have sanitary pads, so like bleeding was pretty easy. Like rags don't control all that. Like pads don't control bleeding. Like how would rags control like all that bleeding? So maybe, and then that time they didn't used to wear underwears as well, like older generation.
Yeah.
So my mom was even wondering, like, how did she even use rags without underpants? Like, my mom is now, like, wondering about her mom. Like, how did she even do anything without underpants?
That's so surprising.
My mom is like, we never saw it. We never, like, I'm like, maybe she had it. My mom was like, but we would have seen it. We would have seen it washed. We would have seen it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like... Either she was like a super spy who was like hiding it like so good. Like how? Like my mom really questions, like we get it, like they use rags and other things, but there are some things that are, if someone can answer that, please do. Like I kind of like curious about it.
And of course, like at that time there weren't like tight jeans or that would like at least hold it there.
No, they used to
like wear saris.
They used to wear like a frock.
Yeah, or frock.
Like we have sari over it, but under a sari you wear a petticoat, and
which
that's
is
like a big
frock thingy.
Skirt, like a big skirt situation.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, I don't know how to do it. Like but you know, when we were talking about like girls living in those confined places for 2-3 days, it just makes me feel like if it's been done in today's time with all the facilities we have, it's kind of like we are oppressing women, like especially in rural areas. Like it's being used as a tool to oppress women, because it has always been done. You know, that excuse, like it has always been like this. We don't need to change. We don't need to change anything that's not broken. It works like that. Then why do we change it? But this is all coming from all the leaders, but they all are men. So they they don't understand.
And even if someone goes and tries to educate them, it's always like, suppose in a village there would be like a head of the village who would definitely be men.
Yes.
And then they wouldn't let that happen, because there's always gonna be like, oh, it's like this has been done, and there's obviously a reason that it has been done for hundreds of years, and we're gonna do it. We won't let this, I don't know, new bloke teach us about
this shahari person, like, you know, like the city boy ways, or whatever, like modern ways, like this is not how it's done here, like blah 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 blah.
They always end the whole conversation with like, this is how we're gonna lose our culture.
Yes, this is how we lose our culture, this is how we lose our roots. We are Hindu, we are Indians, we'll do like this, we has always done like this. Like men say that, even, and more women. Actually, it's not just men. Even women at their homes, they're like, our mom said it, our grandma did it, and this is how it's done.
Yeah. I mean, that is what internalized misogyny is. Like, where women are not letting intentionally or not intentionally, they're not letting other women rise. Like, if our mom like didn't teach us any
not
of this.
Not our mom, but like moms.
I mean, sorry, mom. I mean, like,
our moms was way better.
Yeah, like moms, like I don't know, in the 80th century, they'll be like, oh my god, this is like oppressing. I'm not gonna teach this to my daughter. Like, she's gonna be woman of the new world. Or something like that. Like, then it wouldn't have been passed down to like future generations, and we wouldn't have to go through this right now.
Dude, So there has been like apparently a high rate of dropouts in women when they start getting periods, and this is pretty much like their moms are not sending them anymore. And there are multiple reasons. Like some of them are like, don't touch boys anymore, like, or like don't touch like any men. It's not like they were touching boys. Like what I mean is like don't
like don't come in contact with boys
contact
or
with men, any men. And like especially in rural areas, as the girl gets period, they're like, okay, she can have kids now, let's get her married. Or like at least get a boy for her so that she doesn't get in this bad influence. And like, you know, I don't know what she would do. God knows. She was already scared about her periods. I don't know what you will expect her to do after that. But it's women as well. Women need to push women. I think men take advantage of it because it's easy.
Definitely.
And then they keep the minds of elder women bound that way as well. And it trickles down to generations, and those kids would teach the same thing to their kids until the cycle is not broken by one of them for their kids. It has never explained to them why it's wrong by their own people. It's always an like in a foreigner, or a foreigner, not in a country foreigner, in the sense like a city boy, even an Indian coming into their village, coming into their rural area, and explaining to them, hey, periods is just a natural process, same as any natural body function, and has nothing dirty in it. It allows you to have kids. It's a big Mother Nature gift situation.
Like biological thing.
It's a biological thing, and it has nothing dirty. You don't have to be scared of it or whatever. But they will always treat us like that is a foreign babu, like that's like a city boy. This is not what works here.
What I was like thinking is, like, when you were talking about rural stuff, I feel like I'm so glad to be born in this generation where we have the access to internet. At least like I was born in a place where I had like access to internet from a small age. Because in the back of my mind, I was thinking like, if I wasn't born there, if I was born, like even if I was born there and they don't have like access to internet, I probably would still be believing that all of these rules or things should be followed because it's the right thing to do, because it's been passed down to generations.
Dude, a lot of people have phones and internet access, but they would never search for these things.
Well, that's true too.
Because the biggest thing is in their mind, it's not wrong. Why would you question something that is not wrong in your own mind? Like, if everything is just how it's done, then you would never question it.
Yeah.
And if you never search about it,
then you would never
how would
know
you find
about
out?
It. Yeah.
Only some people who are actually curious about it may Google about it.
That's only when like someone from outside of their community comes in and talks about those things.
You need community people, but it's scary because they blackmail those people. Dude, people are abusing. Okay, this is kind of not real to periods, but this is a designer I follow on Instagram, and he's a Punjabi designer. And he's gay, and his art is very provocative, but he wants to push that narrative because India is so repressive. He wants to push the gay narrative about like men with men and stuff like that. And his team was getting death threats. And he has like what, 50,000 followers? Not that much, like not like million followers, but still like he had to like put a public apology being like, I don't want to have like nothing, like my team, my family's getting death threats, please back off. I felt so sorry for him because he wasn't hurting anyone.
He was just trying to put out like his ideologies, his thoughts.
Feelings. We don't go out there and say your thoughts are wrong or your thinking is wrong, but we don't say like we will kill you or like hit you or blah blah, because people who think this way don't think hitting is right. So it just doesn't work that way. But it's pretty sad, the reality of it. Like, there are tools and people want to help rural areas, but rural community is pretty strong. These foreign people will come 2 days, they will teach us, but then they'll go to their homes. we are stuck here permanently.
And even if someone in the community, suppose like a girl like wants to be a little like, is it liberated? Or I mean, if a girl wants to change things up, then if she like starts to talk about it, she would be bullied or she would be beaten to the point where she would just have to not think about it. Even if she thinks about it, she can't like say it out loud or tell other people.
Even if she wants to liberate her daughter, she has to literally leave her city and come to a better city to change that. She can't do it. Like if she's like, okay, I don't care what happened with me, I want my child to have a better life.
Yeah. Just to like clarifying it for audiences who don't know about these things, when you're living in that area, everybody would know everyone's business.
Yes,
everybody. Like it's a small town. For people who are like, oh, you can just like build a separate house and live separately from the community, they would cut you off if you do that.
It's not even cutting off, it's just more abusive. They're like, don't hang out with their kids, they are not good. Like don't do, like it's humiliating and it's bad. Like, and it's not like you're doing something wrong, you're just letting your kids live a normal life, and that's itself is like so much. Like, but we are not saying like all of it is that bad. Like there are a lot of communities or NGOs, people have taken initiative to change this. There are a lot of people making reusable pads or like cheaper pads for people in villages. A lot of girls in rural areas get pads from school, so they don't have to like go and ask someone else. They get it from like, it's funded by the NGO or the government, and then they get it from the school every month, and then they can use it. We'll link some NGOs that you can, or some support groups that you can support, or if you can't donate anything, maybe just forward their voice on your social medias, just so that more people are aware of them.
Or like you could just like at least start watching, like nowadays a lot of period relating movies or TV series are coming out. Suppose, for example, like Padman, or period end of sentence, you could watch it and then share it, or at least like start discussing it.
I think discussion has to happen, like being more vocal about your periods, just normally. Like normally in the sense, like even with your, I get maybe you are from a modern family, but maybe have a discussion with, like just say it normally, like, oh my god, I have my periods or something like that. Like it has to be normal to crank about your periods in your own home. Like you're bleeding, you're having cramps, you're having pain. We crank about having a headache. Why can't we crank about like having periods where your whole body is paining, you're having severe cramps, you're fatigued, you have emotionally, you're like drained. And why can't you just crank about that? Like I've seen other people like being like, I have a backache, oh my god, I have a knee ache, oh my god. Like this is a similar type of thing. Like it's not permanent. Yeah, it'll go after 3-4 days, but it still hurts.
I think to end this episode, like we would just say normalize periods
and stop using it as a tool to oppress women. But change begins small. If everyone works on changing things around them, then maybe something can change altogether. So start small. If you liked our topic for this week and would like someone else to listen to this podcast and know more about this topic, please feel free to share. Also, if you have any thoughts regarding this topic and would like to suggest a new one for the future, please feel free to comment, discuss, or DM us or any of our social media platforms.
We are Browned Off by Society for Facebook, YouTube, and Insta, and Brown Society for Twitter. Or email us at brownedoffbysociety@gmail.com. Also, if you would like to know more about today's topic, head on to our Insta and Facebook. And finally, thank you for listening to us today, and see you next time. Bye!